Hello there, welcome to Signal Driving School YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm one of the driving instructor from Signal Driving School. In this video, I'll be giving you some advice on how to drive around Toowong testing center, and probably where I'll be driving might be a potential test route. I'm not saying that this is the actual test route that you are going to take, but this is just to give you an idea of how the Toowong test center looks like. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to our channel and also turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when we release new videos. All right, so let's get started. So I've already covered another video where I did this same thing in an automatic transmission, but today I'm going to be doing it in a manual transmission. If you are doing your test in an automatic transmission and you are watching this video, you can just ignore the manual parts and then just focus on what I'm doing and how I'm handling different situations. Okay, all right, let's get started. So if you've booked your driving test here, basically you're gonna arrive at least 20 minutes before the test. Once you've arrived, you're gonna go inside the office to let them know that you've arrived. They will then check your driver's license, so don't forget your driver's license when you come to the driving test. And then also make sure if you are using your own car, make sure that you check if everything is working fine, so like indicators, brake lights. Make sure your tires are in good conditions. In other words, the vehicle has to be roadworthy. If you are using a driving school car, you don't have to worry about this because we always check our cars. The instructor would have checked the car for you. They would have already covered this for you. There is another video that I did that covers what happens on the day of your practical driving test. If you would like to, you can watch this video. It's somewhere in our channel, and I also put the link in the description below so that you can watch it as well. All right, so let's get started. So once you get back here in the car, the driving examiner will check the car outside, make sure everything is working. They'll come inside the car. They normally ask you questions about the car. So again, I'm not going to cover the things that they ask you in this video because I've already covered this in the other previous video. So you may be asked to show your demisters. You may be asked to turn on the hazard lights. You may be asked to do your windscreen wipers, and you might be asked to turn on your lights. So just make sure that if you are doing driving lessons, your driving instructor would show you these things, so they would have already showed you where all of these things are. All right, so I think we can get started. So first thing first, once the examiner comes inside, you're gonna make sure you start the car. Make sure you got your seat belt on. So yeah, once you're ready, so you need to park in the basement area. There's an area where you park the car, so that's where you park the car. Once you've parked the car, then you need to drive out of the center. Today the area is closed because I'm filming this video on the weekend. So if you are interested, you can come here during the week, and I think you should be able to drive down and in the car park there. But I'm just starting this drive outside of their office. All right, so first thing, I put my car in first gear. I'm gonna check my mirrors. There's a car coming, it's past now. So I'm gonna put on my right signal, check my left hand side blind spot, mirrors, then do a shoulder check on the right. Now I see there is a car coming, so I'm gonna remove my indicator. So I'm gonna remove my indicator and wait for that car to pass me. Once it's passed, there's another one coming. So I'm also gonna wait for it. It was going a bit slow, so probably would have made that, but that's all right. Put on my right indicator, do my observation again, looks good, so I can read the handbrake and then move off. So once the car is moving, I put it in second gear. Now let's say the examiner has asked me to turn left, so I put on my left signal, check my mirrors, and then move into this left hand side lane. Now you notice that the traffic light is red, so I'm just gonna wait behind the line. Now usually what happens here, once you turn left, it's always best to select the right hand side lane, because the left hand side lane, sometimes there are cars parked in that lane, and also most of the time the examiner probably might want you to go right at the next traffic lights. And then also pay attention to these traffic lights, because sometimes it turns to green, but it doesn't give that, the red arrow stays on. So when that turns to green, just make sure the red arrow is off, and watch out for pedestrians. So I'm just gonna wait here, just wait for that light to change. While I'm waiting, I'm just scanning. So that's gonna change. Now that changed to green, but the red arrow stayed on. So I'm just gonna wait for that red arrow to disappear. Okay, it's disappeared, checking, and then move. So once I move off, I'm gonna move into this right lane, change to second gear. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right at these traffic lights. So I'm gonna put on my right signal, move close to the car before I clutch in. Check my rear view mirror as well. Nice safe distance. So the light has changed to green, but there is another car turning right. So I'm just gonna wait for it to turn before I commit to the turn. So they've moved in the center, which is good, but I'm gonna wait behind the line. Once they are gone, I'm gonna move in the center as well. Wait for those cars to go. So once they go, then I can complete my turn. Increasing my speed. I notice the speed is 50 kilometers per hour. So making sure that I don't exceed. So some of the vehicles, it might be best in a 50 zone to leave it in third gear. Yeah, because if you put it in fourth, sometimes some cars will struggle. Pedestrian crossing, there's no one there. So I'm gonna take a right turn here. So checking my mirrors. I'm also gonna shift down to second gear. And then I notice there's a car coming, so I'm gonna wait for it. Put in first, it's a little bit steep, so I'm gonna put the handbrake on. Checking my mirrors as well. So once that car is gone, then I move. Checking my mirror once I turn. So let's say the examiner has told me to take the second street on the right, so I make sure I don't indicate too early. So I'm gonna get close enough. Once I'm close, check my mirrors, indicator, and change to second gear. The car is too fast, so I can turn. Once I turn into this new street, I notice the speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. So I'm gonna increase the speed, and then I'm gonna go to fourth gear. Checking my mirrors. Now, usually here there is a roundabout coming up, and that's the Toowong roundabout. So most of the time, sometimes the examiner wants you to go straight. So the only lane that goes straight is the left lane. So I'm gonna check my mirrors and move and position myself in the left lane. Now there's a lot of keep clear sign here as well, so you need to keep an eye on those. And there's a traffic lights here too. So that traffic light, if it's off, at the moment the light is off, so that's fine. So once this person in front of me moves, I can move forward as well. But I need to make sure that I check the roundabout, make sure no one is coming. There's a lot of cars coming from there at the moment, so I'm just gonna wait for them. Then now I can go. So it's a little bit of a busy roundabout, so you need to take care. Once I'm about to exit, indicate left. And then I increase my speed. I notice there is a left lane here that is merging into my lane, so I need to check my mirrors. Sometimes you can also do a quick shoulder check on the left. Increase my speed. I know the speed limit is 60. So I've got the car sitting in fourth gear at the moment. Every now and then checking the rear view mirror and the right side mirror. Sometimes also the left side mirror. Now we are going downhill, so we need to make sure that we don't exceed the speed limit. I'm gonna leave the car in 4th gear, that's fine. But I think there's a steep hill coming up, so I might need to use 3rd gear. So the car is not struggling, so I can leave it in 4th. But some of the other cars you might need to actually shift to 3rd gear. But here I need to definitely go to 3rd, because they said the recommended speed is 30 kilometers per hour. So I've changed to 3rd gear at the moment. Every now and then checking my mirrors. I know there's a few cars behind me, but that's fine. So let's say the examiner has asked me to take the 4th exit at the roundabout coming up. So the 4th exit, that's a right lane. So I'm gonna put on my right indicator, slow down to a nice slow speed before I change to 2nd gear. There's no one coming, so I can enter the roundabout. So I'm gonna just keep it in 2nd for now. So that's the 2nd exit. This is the 3rd exit. And then checking the left-hand side, indicating left. And then I exit into the 4th exit. All right, you might hear someone beeping the horn. There was some cars behind who nearly hit each other. So once I increase the speed, I know here the speed is 50 kilometers per hour. So I need to keep an eye on the speed because we are going downhill. Checking my mirrors. Some cars which have slowed down, so I'm just gonna brake. I'm also gonna change down to 2nd gear. Checking my mirror. In the process of braking, I did check my mirror. Then I'm gonna go left. I noticed there's a cyclist. So I'm just gonna hold back a little bit because that cyclist, I don't know where they're going. Checking my mirror. Also, I'm gonna do a shoulder check because of the bicycle lane. Those people there, they waited for me, that's good. Then let's say the examiner has told me to go right. So indicate right, check my rear view mirror, right side mirror. Also, it's a blind spot, so I'm gonna go up a little bit and then I can turn. Once I turn into the new street, check my mirror. I notice the speed is 40 kilometers per hour. So I just need to make sure that I'm not going too fast. I'm doing 35 at the moment. Let's say, okay, I was gonna do a reverse parallel park, but I noticed that the space is not enough. So we're just gonna find another place to do it. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at this roundabout. Indicating, checking my left side mirror, changing to 2nd, making sure I clutch out after I change to 2nd. Riding the clutch, it's not good. And then let's say the examiner has told me to go left at this roundabout, indicating, checking my left side mirror. And then I'm gonna select 1st gear. There's no one coming from the right, so I can enter the roundabout. Once I turn, check my mirror, and then increase the speed. So I've entered this street. I didn't see any sign, but I know that the speed limit is actually 50 kilometers per hour on this road. So if you don't see the sign, you need to do 50. Let's say the examiner has told me to turn left, check my mirror, and then turn. Once I turn, increase the speed, check my mirror as well. Let's say the examiner has told me to take the street on the left, so I'm gonna indicate left, check my mirror, and then change to second gear, then I turn. And then let's say the examiner has asked me to do a reverse parallel park behind the car coming up there. So first thing first, I'm gonna put on my left signal, check my left side mirror, rear view mirror as well. Once I'm close enough, I go next to the car and then I stop the car. So obviously everyone has different techniques, so for me I'm just gonna reverse a little bit. Some there, check again. There is a car coming, so I'm actually just gonna wait and see what they're gonna do. Whether they're gonna wait for me or whether they're gonna go through. Okay, so they went through. Okay, check again. Looks good. To a full lock to the left. Once I'm about 45, straighten out the car. Reverse a little bit. Check again. Once I'm close enough, turning to go into the parking. Keep checking everywhere. Once I'm parked in, straighten up the car. And then at that point, the examiner will, if they're happy with it, they'll be like, when you're ready, you can move off. But then if they're not, I mean, if it didn't work out, you might need to go forward and adjust, or you can even ask to go and start again. That's fine. I think you're allowed about 5 movements, if I'm not mistaken. So I just did that in 1 movement, but you might need to do it in a few more movements. All right. So let's say the examiner at this point has asked me to move off when I'm ready. So indicate, I mean, you can, whatever you do here, it doesn't really matter. It's not a hill start, so I don't need the handbrake. I can let it off. So check my mirrors, shoulder check, and then I can move off. Once I increase the speed, so remembering the speed limit here is 40 kilometers per hour. Let's say the examiner has asked me to take the left turn at the roundabout. Indicate, check center mirror, rear view mirror, left side mirror. Change to second gear. There's a car coming from the right, so I'm just gonna wait for them. They're entering the roundabout. There's no one else coming, so I can enter the roundabout as well. Once I turn into the new street, increase the speed, change gear. Check their mirrors as well. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at this roundabout, so I'm gonna put on my left indicator. I'm gonna check my right hand side. I don't need to change gear. I can just stay in second gear. Increasing my speed, check my mirror. So let's say the examiner has asked me to turn left. I'm gonna check my mirrors, indicator, change to second, and then I turn. And then let's say the examiner has asked me to do a U-turn at the end of the street. So I'm gonna indicate, slow the car down to a nice slow speed, position my vehicle properly. Checking, there's a little bit of a blind spot. I'm just gonna inch forward a little bit, make sure no one is coming. Then I turn, looking around. There's no one, so I can go. So you have to just keep checking. Once we go, we increase the speed and change gear. Let's say the examiner has told me to take a right turn at the next intersection. So I'm gonna indicate right. It's a little bit steep, so I'm just gonna use first gear. Go up a little bit, make sure there's no one coming because it's a blind spot. Then once I turn, change gear, check my mirror. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go straight at this roundabout. So I'm gonna slow down nice and early, change to second. There's a car on the right, so I'm just gonna wait for it. I'm also gonna go to first gear. There's no one else coming, so I turn. And then indicate left when I'm going off. And then increase the speed. I know there wasn't any sign here, so I'm gonna assume 50. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at the traffic lights. So I'm just gonna indicate as well, check my mirrors. The light has changed, so I'm gonna stop. Stopping, go to first gear, and then apply the handbrake because it's a little bit steep. Wait for the light to change. Then I move off. Checking the intersection, scanning through the intersection. Make sure no one is running a red light, or if there's no ambulance or, you know, like those emergency vehicles. Increasing my speed, so I know here is 50. Checking my mirrors as well. So let's say the examiner has asked me to go right at the next traffic lights. So I'm gonna check my rear view mirror, check my right side mirror, indicate right. Once I'm close enough to the line, I'm gonna push the clutch in and then go to first gear. I'm also gonna apply the handbrake. Again, it depends. You can use the handbrake at any time. Even if it's not too steep, you can still use the handbrake. That's fine. It's much safer that way. So it's a little bit of a busy intersection. Looking through, there's no one coming, no one running a red light, so everything's good. Increase my speed, change gear. So I noticed the speed limit there is 50 kilometers per hour. There's a pedestrian as well, so I slow down. It's a person who was entering their vehicle, so always looking out for those, especially in busy area like this one. By the way, this is Paddington. So even though the test is in Toowong, but it can actually go, it can go in different suburbs which are nearby. So don't think the test will just be around the Toowong only. It can go around. This is the same as if you're doing a test in any center, the test will change. So the speed here is 40. They've dropped it to 40 because I think there's some roadworks. And let's say the examiner has asked me to go right. So I'm gonna indicate, check my rear view mirror, right side mirror. There's also green light, but no green arrow. So I'm just gonna move in the center. And then I'm gonna wait in the center. Once I'm here, select first gear and just wait. So I'm gonna wait for a gap. The light has changed, so I'm gonna turn because they stopped. So if the light changed and you are waiting in the center, you have to turn. Once we turn, increase the speed, change gear. Okay, let's say the examiner has asked me to go straight through the roundabout. So I'm gonna slow down. I'm also gonna use second gear. There's no one on the right, or no one on inside the roundabout, so I can go through. Increasing my speed, changing gear. Checking my mirrors as well. So let's say the examiner has asked me to go right at the traffic lights. So there is a street here, so I can't indicate yet. There is another street here, so I cannot indicate yet. So I need to pass these streets before I apply the right signal. Checking my rear view mirror as well as I brake. Sometimes you can stop in third or you can just downshift to second. It doesn't really matter. You can actually do both. Both are fine. So I know a lot of people will be downshifting going through all the gears. I mean, that's fine. You can also do what's known as block changing. So you can go from like fourth to second, for example. So I'm just double check my gear to make sure it's okay. So while I'm waiting at these traffic lights, I need to be scanning, checking the traffic lights first of all to make sure when they change that I can move, but also just getting an idea of how the road looks like after I turn. So I know I know there is 2 lanes turning right. So when I turn, I need to make sure that I stay in my lane. Because if I cross over, that's it. That's the end of the test. So I noticed the light changed to red there, so it's green now. So I'm just gonna look both ways as I go through. And then when I get close enough to the car, check my rear view mirror. Alright, so let's say the examiner has asked me to change into the left lane. So I'm gonna use my left indicator, check my rear view, both mirrors, center mirror, left side mirror, and ensure that I can move the car. And then let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at the traffic lights. So I'm just gonna slow down to a nice slow speed. I'm also gonna change straight to second, and then make sure I'm not too close to the car in front of me. Once they move, I move off as well, changing to second, crouching out all the way, indicate, mirror, mirror, and then I turn. So I'm just gonna turn and enter this right hand side lane. Once I turn, check my rear view mirror, and then change gear as well. So let's say the examiner has asked me to go right at the traffic lights. So I noticed that the traffic lights has changed to red. So I'm just gonna expect to stop. So I could go to second gear as well, that's fine. Check my rear view mirror. I think I probably, in that situation, I probably put on my indicator slightly late, because I think I just indicated slightly late there. So and then scan through the intersection. Once I turn into this street, I notice there is no speed limit, so I'm just gonna assume it's 50. So here I'm just gonna slow down a little bit because the space is a bit tight. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at the end of the street, so I'm gonna indicate left. There is no marking, so I'm gonna assume it's a giveaway sign. Looking, there's no one, so I can turn. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right, so I'm gonna indicate, check my mirror, and then look both ways. There's no one, I can turn. Once I turn into this street, I can't see any speed limit, so I'm just gonna assume it's 50. Again, keep checking my mirrors to see what's going on around me. Let's say the examiner has asked me to take the next right. So I'm gonna put on my right indicator, Slow down to a nice slow speed. Change to second. There is no one coming from there, so I can do my turn. Once I turn here, I notice the space is a little bit tight, so I'm just gonna stay in second gear and then go a bit slow. You can notice that white car actually did slow down a bit as well, so that's good. It's a good driver. Looking both ways, there's no one, so I can turn. Once I turn into this street, increase my speed, checking my mirrors, change gear as well, keeping a nice safe distance from the cars on the left, those parked vehicles. Once I pass them, make sure I come back to the left. If I stay on the right hand side, probably that will be a fail in the test. So it's okay if there are cars parked on the side to go a bit in the middle, but once you pass those cars, you need to return back to the left hand side. There is a bend coming up, so I'm just gonna slow down to a nice slow speed, checking my mirror. Just gonna change to second gear for now. Increasing my speed, change gear, crash out. Keep a nice safe distance from these cars on the left. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left, so I'm gonna put on my indicator, keep a safe distance from this car on the left before I come to the left hand side lane. Once I stop, I make sure that I'm not too close to the car in front. So while I'm waiting here, I'm scanning through the traffic lights, checking how sharp the turn is gonna be, so it doesn't look too bad, so it should be very straightforward. Just waiting for the light to change. It's changed, so I can let off the handbrake. Checking my mirror after turning, increasing my speed. I know the speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. It's a multi-lane road, so let's say the examiner has asked me to change into the right lane, so I'm gonna check my mirror, put on my right indicator, check my mirror again, shoulder check on the right, and then I can move the car. So 60, just making sure that I don't exceed. And looking ahead, I see there's a little bit of traffic. So I'm just gonna start slowing down nice and early, checking my rear view mirror to see what the car behind me is doing. I'm also gonna downshift from fourth to second straight away, and then crash out. Once I'm close enough to the car in front of me, I'm gonna push the clutch in. So at this point, you usually in the test, the examiner will be going back to the center because it's almost half an hour, probably over half an hour because I've been talking a lot, but it's almost half an hour, and at this stage, the examiner is actually going back to the center. Now, the test is not over until you get back to the center. So a lot of people get too excited. They realize that they didn't do any mistake during the drive, and they get too excited and they make a mistake in the last 5 minutes. So the examiner can throw in something difficult in the last 5 minutes. So just always expect something. Just make sure that the test is not over until you get back to the center. So when you get back to the center, that's when the test is finished. Otherwise, you are still in the test until you've parked the car. I know some people who fail in their last 2 minutes of the test. Some of them fell in the last minute on the way back to just right at the last roundabout of the driving test center. So the test is not over until you get back. Once you are back and you've parked the car and you know you haven't done too many mistakes, then you know that it's time to celebrate. Now, I don't actually know what happened here because it seems like the traffic is backed up. So there's probably an accident. So we may not be able to actually finish this video here. Okay, it looks like they are moving now. Maybe not our lane. So there's a really heavy traffic. Yeah, I think there's been an accident, so that's why there's a lot of traffic. So it seems like something happened. Increase the speed, check my mirrors. Sorry guys, I just have to cut out that part there because there was actually an accident and there seems to be like someone was laying on the ground, so I can't show that part. Let's say the examiner has asked me to turn left, so I'm gonna indicate, check my mirrors. So making sure I check for oncoming traffic from this slip lane here. There's no one coming, so I can turn. Let's say the examiner has asked me to change lane, so I'm gonna indicate right, check my mirrors, show that check on the right, and then I can change lane. The green light coming up here, so I just need to, it's changed to amber, so I'm just gonna have to come to a complete stop and then crouch in, first gear, handbrake on, and wait. So while I'm waiting, again, I'm scanning through the intersection. The light there has changed. Okay, there's a green arrow that came on there for left turns. So probably we might be next. So the light has changed, looking both ways, increase the speed, change gear, checking my rear view mirror to see what's going on behind me. So let's say the examiner has asked me to change into the left lane. I'm gonna apply my left indicator. Now there's a kind of blind spot, so I'm gonna wait for it to slow down for me. It did slow down, mirror shoulder check, and then change lanes. Then let's say the examiner has asked me to turn left. So in other words, we are going back to the center. Indicate left. The left green arrow is on, but there is a person in front of me, so that's fine. I'm just gonna, I obviously have to wait. So at this point, the test is almost done, but it's not really done yet until you are back at the center. Once 10 here, so usually you will be going, you'll be entering one of the driveways on the right-hand side. That's where the center is. But today is closed, so we're not gonna go in there. Instead, we are just gonna go to the roundabout ahead and do a U-turn. So doing a U-turn, put on my right signal, slow down the car, change to second gear, crouch all the way out, check the right hand side and inside the roundabout, and then if it's safe, I can do my turn all the way around. Once I'm almost out, I can indicate left, increase my speed, change gear, crash out, check my mirror. Let's say the examiner has asked me to pull off on the left, check my mirrors, indicate left, and then I can come here, and then we are back to where we started from. All right, so at this stage, if usually you probably know how you went anyway, but you're gonna go inside, and then the examiner is going to give you feedback, and they will tell you whether you passed the test or whether you failed the test. So I hope that was useful. Like always, if you enjoyed watching this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment down below. Sometimes I read the comments, and if I get time, I can reply to your comment, or maybe one of the viewers might be able to help out. You can also subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so that you receive a notification every time we release a new video. Thank you for watching, and if you are doing a driving test soon, I wish you the best of luck. See you next time.